You are watching the Premier League Recap Show.
Yes, you're welcome to the Premier League Recap Show on the Guamari Football Channel. So we'll dive straight into it. This past week, there have been shocking results, and there have been the usual suspects as well, doing what they know how to do best in Man City. And there have been late winners, smash and grabs, and also there's the North London Derby. Would I say did it disappoint or it didn't disappoint? I don't think it was that great a game overall, but as I predicted, Arsenal somehow got a win and we'll go straight into it. So now let's just start with the shock of the weekend. I don't know what you think about any of the results, but for me, the most shocking result of this Premier League game week for weekend for me is the Nottingham Forest, or rather Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest, because in this game, everyone expected Liverpool to win. I know people in the chats were predicting the Liverpool win. Myself as well were predicting that Liverpool would win 3-0, an easy win. But the only thing I said about that game was the only way that Nottingham Forest would get any sort of result in that game versus Liverpool would be to attack the spaces behind their fullbacks, defend very well, and attack the spaces behind their fullbacks. And like I said, for all Trent Alexander-Arnold's qualities, he lacks that defensive ability, and especially when you're playing for an slot or you're in club, you always play high up the pitch, and you have those spaces in behind. And for Nottingham Forest, with your pacey wingers like Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, you always have that threat. So I gave them that chance, that puncher's chance, if you will, that if they could find a way to get behind Liverpool's back line using their pacey wingers, they could somehow, some way, maybe get a draw, get something from the game. But nonetheless, the game was a shocker. So shocking. And I feel Liverpool should be embarrassed, although this is the second time they've lost in how many, God knows how long at Anfield, but still, there's a loss. And if you want to keep a pace with Man City, these are the games you have to win. You have no excuses. There are no excuses about that. There's no excuse to be made. If you want to win against Liverpool, you want to compete against Manchester City, to beat them to a fifth Premier League trophy in a row, then you have to win this game. But Liverpool came up short, and that's what happens sometimes. You possess the ball, control the game, quick slick passes. But when the opposition says, okay, we're not coming forward, what then do you do? And for me, some people criticize Liverpool, like Alisson Becker, the goalkeeper for Liverpool, was going on about, why Nottingham Forest were playing defensively, just going playing with long balls. No, that's football at its best, in my opinion. You come with your own style, your opposition comes with their own style, and then we'll see who wins. And definitely, you're not expecting Nottingham Forest to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, because they will surely lose. And that's what teams have done in the past and have lost. You remember when Farker had come up with Norwich from the Championship to the Premier League, and was playing passing out from the back, high octane press, high line, and was getting smashed every other weekend. So for me, kudos to Nottingham Forest. They played the way they had to play, and they got the win. Liverpool dominated possession, created some chances here and there. But for me, I think they did what they had to do, and they got the win. So that's how you do it. I miss those days when you had teams that actually, would know what their strengths are and play to their strengths. Unlike what we see some teams trying to play out from the back, trying to be sexy on the ball when they don't have the players to do it. So Nottingham Forest, fair dues to them, they got the win. Hudson-Odoi, got the goal, brilliant goal for him, good for him. And I want to say this, I don't know if other fans, whether Man United fans or Arsenal fans or Liverpool fans or Spurs fans, if you have the sort of people in your fan base, each time a player you sell or each time an academy player that left the club does well, it's almost like some fans see it as something to start blaming the club about, start complaining about. You know, Hudson-Odoi scored a good goal, good for him and his present team. And then some fans just keep going on at Chelsea, going at Chelsea's board. Oh, why did you let him go? Or why did you let him go? Why you signed Mudryk? Blah blah blah. The way teams are structured nowadays, the kind of pool that teams have, the kind of academies teams have, the scouting network that teams have, it implies that not every good player would play for your team. Your job as a club is to make sure you give every academic graduate the proper pathway to the proper pathway to a decent professional career. If it happens that they end up playing for your club, that's fine. That's a double bonus. But if you end up that for some reason they don't play for your club, maybe at the moment you were not ready, because let's face it, at a big club, whether you're 18 or you're 34, you're expected to bring the goods every day because you're playing for the big prize and big honor. So for me, that's just something I wanted to. I wonder if any other fans have that. And then Liverpool fans, I want to know where your thoughts are on that game. So is it are you upset with Arne Slot, or is it just something just talking as a bad day at the office and just keep moving and move to the next game? So I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions on that particular game when Nottingham Forrest versus Liverpool game. For me, that was the biggest shock of the Premier League game week 4. So what are your thoughts and opinions on that? So we'll be coming right back to that, but right now we'll move on to the next one. We'll move on to the next game, and that game we'll be looking at will be the Brentford, Man City versus Brentford game. Now this game. Brentford scored first by Johan Wissa, unfortunately, who sustained an injury. And Thomas Frank, the Brentford coach, said he'll be out for a couple of weeks, wishing speedy recovery. Never want any professional player, to be injured. Want to be healthy as he can be, and hopefully comes back fitter and stronger. So, but Man City, I said it again, Erling Haaland smashed in 2 goals, and then they end up winning 2-1, and that's the end of the game. So I keep saying it, the need for a striker. I think Pep Guardiola just got tired of super possession football, create a million chances, and you're unable to score. Because he knows sometimes you play all you can play, but the opposition defends so well, plays so well, and then you go on to win. I know I predicted a 3-0 victory, but they end up winning 2-1, so that's still fair. A win is a win, in my opinion. So that's good for Man City. I think they're almost perfect, if not perfect. I don't think they've dropped any points because they won against Chelsea, I know, and then they've won the other games they've played in. So I think they're perfect at this point. I don't think they've lost any game, have they? Someone remind me in the chats there about the good form and once again the top of the pile. And like I said, if you're Liverpool, if you're an Arsenal, I'm not going to mention Chelsea because I don't think Chelsea are in the running for this. But if you're a Liverpool, if you're an Arsenal, and you're looking to compete with Man City, you're looking to dethrone them, then you must win this sort of games, these tough, tight games, because they will not drop points. Man City would not drop points. Not against these sides, not in this stage of the season, not in the form Erling Haaland is in at this point. So you've got to find a way by hook or by crook and win your games. I know people want to go about 115 charges, which is just silly talk as far as I'm concerned. The 115 charges, but your team has the opportunity, or rather had the opportunity, to get quality players in, to help do the job. And if the board of Arsenal, the board of Chelsea, the board of Liverpool, don't do the business, don't do what they have to do in terms of recruitment, then that's left for them. Then they are to blame. In my opinion, you can't be blaming Man City because Man City are not meant to sort of make themselves more competitive in terms of making themselves weaker. They have to strengthen themselves every season. And I think there was some rumors saying they're looking to, get a replacement for, Julian Alvarez and Jerry Transferwin. And I was just saying, please, hopefully they don't get Victor Osimhen, because Victor Osimhen as backup to Erling Haaland with all the madness, and people will start complaining. But teams have had the opportunity to get the players that they should get, and they've refused to get them. So Man City fair dues, they've done what they had to do, and they've got their win. a narrow win, 2-1. It wasn't the 3-0 I was thinking about. So, but it's good enough they got the win and they still top the Premier League table. And let's talk about the Arsenal Spurs game. Now, for me, I said Arsenal will win this game. That was my prediction. I said Arsenal will win this game. It will be a tight game. It wouldn't be a straightforward win for Arsenal because they had injuries to Odegaard. They had suspension of Declan Rice. So that would mean it wouldn't be a straightforward win, but it would probably be a 2-1 or 1-0 win. And true to form, it was a 1-0 win. It was a tight game, hotly contested game, and they won it. And like I was saying earlier on, you want to compete. When I'm talking about Liverpool, you want to compete with Man City. You want to compete with them. You want to prevent them from winning a fifth Premier League title in a row. You must win this sort of games. You must win this sort of games. And Arsenal almost, didn't win this game. And Vicario for me, Vicario. Vicario should have come up to get that ball. He should have come up to get that ball rather than allowing Gabriel to head the ball into the net. From about the 6 yards out or something like that, to get the header in. And that's the problem I keep going on about modern goalkeepers. People keep moving away from, the actual day-to-day job, the meat and drink requirement or functionalities of a goalkeeper, which is stop balls from going in, come in and claim crosses, shot stopping. Everyone wants to go on about distribution, how good a goalkeeper is with his feet, how good a goalkeeper is rushing out of his goalpost. Those things should be pluses. They should be additional. They should be okay. He's a very good shot stopper. He has very good reflexes. He comes up for the ball bravely. He gets the ball, and then in addition, he's good with his feet. In addition, he's fast off his line. In addition, he can help you build up play. It shouldn't be the main thing that you look for. And so Vicario should have stopped. He should have come out and claimed that ball. And the way the game panned out, the game probably would have ended in a draw. But you've seen it, Arsenal somehow, some way managed to win that game. So fair dues to them, fair dues to them. And they did what they have to do. They had to do rather, because some of these games you have to win ugly. Later on in the show, we'll talk about a team that had to win ugly. Sometimes you have to win ugly. Sometimes it doesn't have to be sexy play. It doesn't have to be, sweet, slick passes, beautiful interchange of passes, and then scoring the perfect goal. Sometimes you have to roll your sleeves up, dig your feet into the ground, and just get the point. Do what you have to do to win. And then Arsenal did what they've had to do to win, because I said it, if they had lost that game or even dropped points in that game, it would have been curtains for them in terms of the league title, because the way Man City is going right now, I think the point difference would have been way too much, for Arsenal to sort of, meet or try to eclipse or compete, because the way Man City are going, they could have pulled up to the 5, 6, 7 point gap, and I think Arsenal will not be able to meet up those points. And that's why I say Arsenal need to get a striker in January. That's my thoughts and opinion on that. At this point, I'll just go for a small break and I'll be back with you shortly. Now, the next game we're talking about is the Southampton, Manchester United game. Now, this is a, a prototypical game when you know the saying, game goals change games. Goals indeed change games. You know, Southampton, in my opinion, are dominating the game in terms of the way they are playing, creating chances, dominating the game. So I think they were controlling the game and they were the better side, in my opinion. And then they had the penalty, and I think the 33rd minute thereabout, and then Cameron Archer missed the penalty. Missed the penalty, or rather, Man United fans will want to say, Andrea Onana won, saved the penalty instead. But then, once that happened, it was almost like a kick up the backside for Manchester United, and they started being more dominant on the ball, started controlling the game, controlling the game, having more of the ball, creating more chances, being the more dangerous side, and turned out two goals, one from Matthias de Ligt, and then one from Marcus Rashford, and that was it. And then the second half, Garnacho got the third goal, 3-0, happy days, game over. So in the Premier League, you have to take your chances. But for me, I still feel that Manchester United haven't yet turned the corner. And a lot of people would say, "Oh, but was it good win? They had three goal win. It looked dominant on paper. It looks dominant, but I don't think they still turned the corner yet. I still think Rashford will still be strong. It still doesn't look quite up to it yet. Maybe this will be the sport he needs going into the coming games. He will probably build on this goal he scored, and then play very well, and then use that to build some form for himself going into the coming game. But just on the back of how he's played so far this season, I still think Manchester United. I still think that he's not yet come into proper form, in my opinion. And for me, I don't know what Manchester United fans would think. I think Matthias de Ligt should be starting ahead of Maguire. He should be the first name on the team sheet in terms of the centre back. And Amad Diallo is another player that I think Manchester United should have on the pitch. And sometimes I think Ten Hag sometimes tries to make it either an Amad Diallo starts or Garnacho starts. I think both of them can start, and then you play Zexi through the middle. That's just my opinion. I'm not a Manchester United fan. I don't really want them to win or do well, but that's it. That's my own opinion. That I think would they'll look better with those two players on the pitch and Rashford coming off the bench. What I think, in my own opinion. So Southampton, you've learned the lesson. You could dominate the ball, play well. When you have your chance to score against the perennial top six side or traditional top six side or any side for that matter in the Premier League, you have to take those chances. When it's a penalty, you have to score it. I know people say you can miss a penalty. For sure you can, but you must take those chances, because if you don't take those chances, more often than not, you get punished. You get punished for not taking your chances. So they've had to learn the hard way in the Premier League. So they lost. Manchester United won. 3 goals, good game for them. Happy days for Manchester United fans. I think they've got something to cheer after the poor run of form, coming into the Southampton game. So good for them. So we looked at the Liverpool game. Shocking game. I want to know what your thoughts and opinions are on that game. Completely, would I say, not outsmarted by Nuno Espirito Santo, but showed something different. Nottingham Forrest showed something different. And that's what I like to see. If you don't have all the silky players on the ball, you should find some other way to win. Use your strengths. Look at your position weaknesses. Because like I said, Liverpool, for all their good play, for all their slick play, they have an Achilles heel, and that's their fullbacks. The space behind their fullbacks. The space they have in behind their fullbacks is their Achilles heel, in my opinion. Even under Jurgen Klopp, they play so well, they dominate the ball, dominate possession, create lots of chances. But what happens is you have that space in behind your fullbacks. And if you have pacey wingers and you time it right, you can always make that run in behind and have them in the spot of bottom, in my opinion. So I feel Nottingham Forest played the game they had to play. Alison Becker can complain all he wants to complain about, going on about how Nottingham Forest, why they play long balls. I just think the arrogance of certain people or certain football players, coaches is just silly and funny at the same time. You want people to play in a way that suits you so you can beat them. It's just stupid to me, in my opinion, because you play according to your strengths. You use the players you have. You don't go to Anfield and play toe to toe with Liverpool because you could end up getting smashed for 3, 4, 4 goals, 5 goals. So you defend, use your passive wingers, get in behind them, and get your goals. And that's what Nottingham Forest did. So kudos to them, kudos to Espirito Santos, and kudos to and kudos to Hudson-Odoi for getting the goal. Now, for Ghanaian folks out there, what do you think about Hudson-Odoi? Don't you think you should be trying to get him to play for Ghana, or you let him play for England? I think you should be trying your best to see how you can get him to play for Ghana, because you have Kudus, and Kudus, he can't just do everything himself, because with 3 doesn't make a Forest, because I think he would add a different dimension to the Ghanaian side. So I don't want Ghana to do well, but I think it would be nice for Hudson-Odoi to get to play for Ghana, because I think he can contribute something to that, to the national team. And so we move on to the last game we're looking at, which is the Chelsea versus Bournemouth game, or rather Bournemouth versus Chelsea game. I know in the pre-match preview, as in the before the whistle show, I predicted that Chelsea would win a 1-0 win, going to have a 1-0 victory over Bournemouth. But the game, oh my Lord, if you've not seen my review of the game, you can check it out. But this game was one of the ugliest performances I've seen from the side, especially the first half. The first half was so bad. No poor passes, couldn't complete passes, couldn't dribble anyone. Players had their back to go most of the time. And fair play to Bournemouth. They put pressure, on Chelsea's wingers, Madueke, Pedro Neto, preventing them from turning and facing upfield. And it was just a horrible, horrible first half from Chelsea. And the way the game was played, and Bournemouth played the better side. And just like the Southampton game, Bournemouth had a penalty. Evan Nielsen, all set to get his first goal, for Bournemouth to break his sort of mini goal scoring drought. And then, whether you want to say Sanchez came up with a brilliant save, or you want to say the penalty was poor, I'd rather go with the latter, because I think it was a brilliant save from Sanchez, because it's one of those ones where football players now, because you rarely see players stand up straight, face up the ball, and strike it, placing it in an angle. Now that you have people doing the hop skip or the walk towards one end and then play it, awkwardly towards the other side of the goal. But this time Sanchez gets right and saved it, so good on him. But still, even the fact that Sanchez even saved the penalty didn't seem to cause any uptick in the form of Chelsea going for the better part of the game. Still didn't play very well. Still struggled. Vega struggled. Caicedo tried. But then the second half still wasn't a glorious performance by any stretch of the imagination, in my opinion. I still think the team still struggled a bit. The one bright spot or one bright spark was Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho, for me, I said it during the review of the game. I said Jadon Sancho has made that left wing his own. Pedro Neto, Mikhailo Mudryk should just stand behind him in a queue. They should stand behind him in a queue, and when they get the opportunities, then they should do their best, to take his spot. Because I think the way he played, his interchanging of passes, his willingness to run out to the defenders, to own his fullback, and the way he holds the ball, he gets the defenders to stop. And then once the defenders stops, he controls them, dribbles, and he really had a very, very good should I say, mini debut for Chelsea. But then again, I want people, Chelsea fans, pipe down, pipe down. Hold your horses just a minute. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny minute. Just hold your horses. He's not Eden Hazard, not yet. He's not the rebirth of Cristiano Ronaldo in his prime. He's not Eden Hazard. He's not Lionel Messi. He's coming and had a very good for the 5 minutes. So kudos to him for that. He's done well. And I think the next game as well, I think it's against West Ham, he should play at left wing because I think he's done well and he's performed the best out of Mudryk and Pedro Neto. So I think he deserves to be there. But expectations should still be managed and brought down a bit. People are going on about him being Hazard. He's not. He's nowhere near that level, not at a minute, maybe sometime in the future. So I think he's made that his own. And then Nkunku as well must get credit because though Jadon Sancho came up with the assist, he came up with the goal, to get that late winner to break, the hearts of Bournemouth. So Nkunku got the goal, good goal for him. So Chelsea fans, what do you think? Do you think Nkunku should be starting ahead of Nicholas Jackson? Because Nicholas Jackson did have some chances and he still fluffed his lines. He still had those heavy touches. He still had those indecisive moments. So what do you think? For me, in my opinion, I think Nkunku should be starting as at number 9, or rather as the striker. He should be starting as the striker, in my opinion, because Jackson, he's had a couple of games. He's scored 2 goals in 4 games now. So that's still 50%, goal scoring sort of rate, which is not bad, which is decent, but he's having big chances and he's missing them again. I think he can be on the bench, have Nkunku play, run at these players, when they're weak, in second half, 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go, then you bring, Jackson in. He can use his space and run in behind the tired defenders. And all this 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes that Nkunku keeps getting, I don't think it's enough. You let him play because this is a player who scored 20 plus goals in the German Bundesliga. He got his injury and it was like, okay, he needed time to recuperate, get back to the swing of things, and now I think he's fit. I think he should be playing ahead of Jackson. I'm not saying do away with Jackson, but I think Nkunku should be playing ahead of Jackson, in my opinion. Let him play, let him be the number 1 person there in the attack. And then Jadon Sancho should be on the left wing. Madueke, I still think he's still very good. Him on the right wing. And then you have your Cole Palmer in the 10 role. For me, I'm even saying Enzo Maresca should be opting to play his, 2-10 sort of style that he played with Leicester. Get your Felix in, get your Palmer in the 10 roles with your 2 wingers and your strikers. Because right now the defense isn't the greatest. What you have is your attack, and you should be looking to dominate games with your attack because the defense isn't quite good. Another thing for me, I don't know what Chelsea fans think. Disasi is not a right back, and he shouldn't be anywhere near that right back spot. And this is what I don't get with coaches. I don't get with modern coaches. You've got an academy. You've got Josh Achapong. He's there in the academy. I know you've got Malagusto, you've got Rhys James. But if for whatever reason they're injured, unable to play, not fit enough, or they are banned, then you should be able to reach to your academy and then, use the players you have in your academy. Like in this instance, just Ashipong, play him at that right back and see what he can do. As opposed to playing Disasi there. Everyone is criticizing Disasi. Well, I guess you can criticize him. But he's a centre back for one. And then secondly, he's one of the slowest defenders ever. I'm not talking about intellectually or how he thinks, but in terms of his athleticism, he's slow. He's very slow. So why would you play him there? Because you're putting him at a disadvantage already. Because that position is where you have all the fast players on the pitch. You've got your wingers, you've got your fullbacks, and then you've got your strikers. Sometimes they pull out, to the left side or to the right side. And when you have someone like a Disasi there, you put him, in trouble. And especially when you want to play a high line. When you want to play a high line, why would you have Disasi at right back? He would always struggle. Always he would struggle. And nowadays, when you see coaches, they say they are so concerned about details. They look at the every tiny detail, the least bit of detail. They always take into consideration. Then how would you put or pit a slow centre back at right back or left back against a fast winger, against a fast fullback like Kekesh? How would you do that and expect that centre back not to struggle? Now, and then Wesley Fofana was there. Now it's one thing where your two fullbacks are injured, you don't have anyone in the academy, which is something that would be very shocking. And then that's what you just have to use. Okay. It's okay, understandable if maybe you're playing a deep line, you're playing two banks of four, then you're not playing the high line, you're not looking to push up your defenders, then okay, maybe that centre back can try. But when you say you're playing attacking football, you want to play with a high line, then what's the point playing a very, very slow centre back? For me, Disaster is even slow for a centre back. So you shouldn't be playing, in the fullback anymore. So for me, that's just why I don't want to see him there. I know what your thoughts are on that matter. And what's your take, Liverpool fans, on this game? I've talked about it before. What do you think on this game? What do you think went wrong? What do you think went wrong for your team? What do you went with Arne Slot? Do you think he's exposed now? Because he came in and it was like, okay, modern day MacGyver. He's discovered new ways of playing, new ways of doing things. Liverpool looked impervious, unstoppable. But end of the day, they've got shown up at Anfield by a team that probably will be struggling for survival this season. But that's the Premier League for you, I think. So, what do you think should happen? Do you think he would have done well with the striker, or do you think Sloth can get this back to how or rather, let us say, do you think this is a blip, or do you think Arne Slot has been exposed? What's your opinion on this? Let me know in the chat right there. And viewers, the link is there. You can click on the link and join the conversation. So now just pause for a brief break. So, Arsenal fans, what do you think about your performance? Do you think it was good enough? Do you think, in general, you probably need a striker, or you're good with the way the team is, and you think you can compete against Man City with this side? Maybe you can say, "Oh, this game is proof that Arsenal can win ugly. You don't need a striker to get you those late goals, to get you those goals in those tight games." So, what do you think? So, for me, in my opinion, I still think if Arsenal really, 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 really want to compete with Man City, really have desires of winning the league title, then I think in January, depending on where you are, you push on and get the striker. Maybe you get a Jokeres or someone else, but get an actual out and out striker. Because Sky Havertz, he will score the odd goals, he will score those silky goals. But in games like this, he will disappear. And he indeed disappeared in this game. So Gabriel, good on him to score the goals, to come up with a goal, and that shows that's a plus for Arsenal and Arsenal fans and for Arteta, that when you're not playing so good, when you're not creating that much chances, you can have goals from other parts of the pitch, other parts of the field, from other positions on the field. I know people would argue, oh, you can see we have another player score, we're having a centre back score, we're having different players score apart from a striker. That shows we don't really need a striker. We don't really need an out-and-out striker, but you do. You actually do. With the way Ellen Haaland is going on about things, the way he's scoring goals, you need a striker. You really, really do need a striker. So Arsenal fans want to know, you're happy with the win? Obviously, you're happy with the performance. Do you think in general you need to go in for a striker, or you're good how it is? And then Arsenal fans, what do you make of the Raheem Sterling debut? You're enjoying him. I'm happy he's with you guys. He missed an opportunity to set up a player and he didn't. So, what are your thoughts on Raheem Sterling's debut? What are your thoughts on your team's performance overall? And Mikel Arteta is signing a new contract. Do you think he deserved that so far? And this question I'm asking: do you think Arsenal needs to sign a striker, or you can go the whole season without a striker, and you think you can win, the league title against Man City, because that's the top dog everyone should be looking to, compete against. And now talking about Liverpool again, Liverpool. What do you think about your coach? Has he been exposed? Do you think maybe it's just a blip and he'll come good? You're okay with him? That's fine. And then Manchester United fans want to hear what you think about your performance. Do you think this is something that your team can actually build on, and then use this as a springboard to perform as a springboard to better performances going into the coming games? Well, it can and it cannot be, because we saw this throughout last season. You see some games, and you know what? How it happened last season. Any game that seemed to be the last game for Ten Hag, any game that seemed to be a make or break for Ten Hag, somehow Manchester United will come up and win the game and win it by multiple goals. Maybe they don't even play that well, but end up winning 4-0, 4-1, 3-0, and everyone is quiet again back in the manager. So do you think that this performance and this result is good enough, to keep Ten Hag on the job? Is good enough, to save your season? I know this is just game week 4. What do you think about this performance, about your team, about Ten Hag? For me, I feel Ten Hag is coming. He's done his best. He's tried, but I think he's not good enough for Manchester United. It's one thing when you're coaching Ajax, because Ajax is just the best team bar none in the league, in the Dutch league. No one else really, really, really competes with them. Feyenoord tries every now and again. PSG try every now and again. But when you're coaching Ajax, you're just the best team, and winning the league is the minimum. Win the league in Holland with Ajax is just the bare minimum. So I think Ten Hag has done his best, but I think it's time for him to leave. And this result notwithstanding. So what are your thoughts, Man United fans? Do you think, okay, well, this is good enough to keep him in the job? Good enough for him to see at least the rest of the season? What are your thoughts on that one? I'd like to know what you think. And then for Chelsea fans, after you've watched this game, what are your thoughts on Nicholas Jackson? What are your thoughts on Enzo Maresca? For me, I think Enzo Maresca should really, really embrace his philosophy. He should embrace his philosophy, because he came up with, there's all this talk of playing with two 10s or advanced 8s, that we're going to play that way, inverted fullback, although we're seeing the fullback converting, but we're not seeing those 2 10s. We are seeing 4-3-3 with just 1 10 behind the striker. What do you think about that? Do you think that's fair enough? And then what are your thoughts on Nicholas Jackson? I know the whole team didn't play very well. He's not the only one that didn't play well. But what are your thoughts on Nicholas Jackson? Do you think he's good enough to lead the line and push Chelsea back into the Champions League spots, or probably need another striker? For me, I think first and foremost, Nkunku should play in that position. Nkunku should be the striker from now to January. He should be in the striking position from not January. In fact, this is my 11. Sanchez as goalkeeper, I think he's been in decent form, so okay. And as goalkeeper, Cucurella at left back, Rich James hopefully is fit and available at right back, or him and Malagusto, depending whoever is available. And then Tosin and Colwell in centre back pairing. I think Western Fofana is still a bit shaky. In the midfield, I'll go with Caicedo and Lavia. If I'm playing the two, if I'm playing one CDM, it would be Lavia, and then I'll go with João Felix and Palmer in the 10 roles, with Nkunku, striker, Madueke, and Jadon Sancho on either side on the wing. So that's what I'll be going with till the end of the season, in my opinion. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? We'll just go for a little break and then we'll come for the last limbs of the show. So stay tuned.
You are watching the Premier League Recap Show. 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 You are watching the Premier League Recap Show.
So, Man U fans, this question is for you. What do you think about Rashford? Do you think, as he scored the goal against Southampton, he's done enough and should be given another chance, and that's it? Or you're thinking this is the moment that Man United should cash in on Rashford? What are your thoughts on it? So, if you just join in, this is the Premier League recap show, and we've gone through talked about the various games, the big games are taking place in the past weekend, game week 4, and the huge disappointments that have happened. Liverpool losing to Nottingham Forest at home, and then with Chelsea leaving it late, against Bournemouth. So what do you think about these various games? Who do you think can even stop Man City? Can anyone stop Man City? Has Arsenal done enough to sort of convince you that yes, they would actually be in the title race? They can actually stop, Manchester City from doing a five-peat, win the Premier League for 5 times in a row. You think they can actually do that? Now, for Chelsea fans, do you think, Enzo Maresca and his team have done enough to prove to you that they can actually get top 4, especially without a striker? Do you think the game maybe shows resilience? Didn't play that great, but at least able to get the win, get all 3 points. Like I said, sometimes you just have to smash and grab. So what do you think about that? And then Anthony Taylor, What do you think about that man? For me, I don't think that referee should be officiating any game, but he keeps getting the big games to officiate. So for me, I think he's someone that should no longer be there. What are your thoughts on, you know, on Anthony Taylor? And as well, for Tottenham fans, what are your thoughts on Vicario? Do you think yes, he's the one, and more and with more, should I say, focus on Ange Postecoglou? He said, oh, he wasn't looking at telling his players that they have to win the North London Derby. That he doesn't want his team to sort of look at North London Derby as a game they have to win more than other games. But for me, the truth is, football, though it's a business and things like that, you must win every other game, to finish in the top four spots, win league titles, win your League Cup, win your FA Cups. But football is very tribal, and there are certain games that you should win, that you must do your utmost to win. And if you can't win those games, you don't lose those games. Inter Milan versus AC Milan, those games are not games you want to lose. You do your best to win those games. If you can win them, you don't lose them. Same thing, Rangers Celtic. The game, you may not win it, but you do your utmost to win it. And that's not a game you go in to say, oh, I don't really care about this. I don't want the players to be more up for this game than any other game. So, sports fans, what do you think about Ange Postecoglou? Do you think he, be able to take Spurs to where you want to be? Do you think he's someone that can actually get Spurs in the top four, or even maybe 3 or 4 years down the line, get Spurs competing for the Premier League title or competing for major honors? Or do you think this job is way, way beyond him? So what are your thoughts and opinions on that one? I'd like to know in the chats there. And Chelsea fans as well, what do you think about your team? Manchester United, what do you think about your team as well? At this point, I think I've come to the end of today's video. Thanks for all those who watched, and thanks for all those who will subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you're notified each time I go live on the channel and put other videos on there. There are various shows, there are more shows that you'll be watching on the channel. The Next Gen Ninja, that will be talking about new emerging talents that are eligible to play for Nigeria, whether they have dual nationality or they just have the Nigerian nationality. I'll be highlighting them on this channel and during the Next Gen Ninja, as well as Next Gen Chelsea, that will be highlighting players like Tyre George, Josh Achupong, and other youngsters that are coming out from Cobham, that could, have something to contribute to the team. That could be the next John Terry's, the next, next John Terry's, the next Trevor Chaloba, and these players to actually be promoted from the academy into the first team. So that show will be focused on the players. And then the Nigeria football show as well. This is the one coming up tomorrow. Be on this channel by 5:30 for that show. You don't want to miss it, because I'll be talking about a talented player that we haven't seen for a while in the Nigerian national team. So I want you to be here. Let me know your thoughts and opinion on that player. Let's have a chat. Let's have a discussion with respect to that player. So the Nigeria football show is one you don't want to miss as well. So at this point, I've come to the end of the video. Thanks for joining, and see you on yet another video. Still, goodbye and God bless.